Welcome to this deep dive. We're the place where we take your sources, really dig through them, and try to pull out the most important nuggets of knowledge. Think of it as your shortcut.
Yeah, getting you up to speed on some pretty fascinating stuff.
Exactly. And today, we're plunging into, well, quite a stack of materials, actually, all about a new platform for digital creation and collaboration.
And the founder's story, too, which is quite remarkable in itself.
It really is. We've got promo stuff, the founder's own background story, some detailed platform highlights, and even a script that sort of lays out the whole vision.
Right, and it's interesting you see it called Orchestra Text, EEM in one place, and Squad Compass in another.
Yeah.
But the core ideas, the vision, what it actually does, that seems pretty consistent across the board.
Yeah, that's what we need to figure out. Our mission here really is to get a handle on where this project came from, the big vision driving it all.
And the key features, too, how they plan to make that vision happen. Plus this idea that it's, well, more than just software. They keep calling it a movement.
Okay, so let's unpack the story first. The sources really make a point of the founder's background, how they went from being like firmly outside the tech world.
A non-tech outsider, one piece calls them.
Right. To becoming what they're now calling a visionary platform architect. It's quite a leap.
And what's really interesting is how they frame that whole journey. It wasn't, a straight shot. It was apparently full of pretty significant hurdles.
Like what?
Well, battling the sheer complexity of AI, for one. That's tough for anyone. And also dealing with what they felt were barriers maybe put up by big tech environments.
Okay. Environments not really set up for the kind of open, collaborative creation they had in mind.
Exactly. Sounds like a real uphill battle.
It does. But the sources are clear they got through it. Through relentless curiosity, they say. Sheer grit. Just not giving up.
And importantly, leveraging open source tools. That seems key.
Yeah. They specifically mentioned leaning on a multimodal agent platform, something like Perplexity AI, as a major resource for finding solutions, navigating all that complexity.
Right. And every single frustration, every stumble, one source even mentions ego bruises, which is kind of funny. They weren't seen as failures. They were seen as fuel. Each challenge, each breakthrough became a milestone that actually shaped the development.
So the platform itself was kind of born from the problems it's trying to solve.
That's how it's presented, yeah. A project born out of the very difficulties it aims to fix for other people.
And out of all that struggle, this really clear vision emerged. The sources really hammered this home. It wasn't about building just another app.
No, not just a tool. It was about building a movement.
A movement based on the idea that anyone, absolutely anyone, no matter their technical skill,
right,
should be empowered to co-create with AI.
And that really connects back to the founder's own story, doesn't it? Someone without that traditional tech background building something for others who might not have it either.
Yeah, it makes you think about what true accessibility means in this space. Making powerful AI, complex digital creation, not just available, but actually usable for way more people.
A much broader audience than usually gets served by this kind of tech.
And they capture that vision in the platform's identity, its visuals. There's this striking M symbol logo.
The sources say it represents mastery, structure, and vision. The core things you need for creation.
Foundational elements.
Exactly. And alongside that logo, there's this signature artwork piece. It's described as a kind of creative explosion.
Right, meant to embody that collision or maybe synergy between analog imagination and digital evolution.
Yeah, a sort of visual shorthand for bringing that human creativity into this new tech era. It's pretty evocative.
So, okay, strong vision, clear identity. The big question then is, what does this platform actually do? How does it deliver on that promise of empowerment?
Good question. The sources get into several key features that seem pretty central to its whole design.
All right, lay it on us.
Okay, so at the heart of it seems to be multi-agent orchestration.
Meaning?
Meaning it's not just using one AI for one task. The platform is designed to have multiple specialized AI models, they call them, agents working together. Okay. And the way they frame it is interesting. It's like AI isn't just a tool you use, but it acts more like a collaborator, maybe a mentor, or even a creative partner that works alongside you.
That shift from tool to partner sounds, well, significant. They also mention a neuroadaptive UI, user interface.
Yeah, neuroadaptive UI, meaning the interface isn't fixed, it's built to adapt in real time, apparently based on your feedback and maybe even your cognitive state as you're working.
Whoa, hold on. So the platform itself learns how I work.
That's the idea.
Yeah.
It could potentially adjust layouts, suggest tools, maybe even change the complexity level on the fly depending on your specific workflow and how you're doing.
Like the software grows with you. That's ambitious.
It is,
Yeah.
kind of like it's learning your unique creative style.
And there's adaptive gamification built in too, to keep learning and creating engaging.
Yeah, personalized, tailored to your progress and goals, trying to make the process feel less like a chore and more, well, engaging.
Makes sense. What about security? That's always a big one.
Huge focus, it seems. Crucial when you're dealing with personal projects, potentially sensitive ideas or data.
Right.
They mention robust features, including post-quantum cryptography.
Okay, it's thinking ahead.
Definitely preparing for future encryption threats, plus detailed audit trails, ethical guardrails built right into the system. The goal seems to be enabling creation with, confidence and trust.
And to keep it relevant over time.
It's described as modular, so you can plug in new AI models, different computation routines. They even mention integrating future quantum capabilities, which is wild,
Wow.
and new creative tools as they come out. It's designed to evolve, not become obsolete quickly.
So if you tie all these features together, what's the underlying principle?
The design principle seems really clear. The platform adapts to you. It learns and grows as you do, instead of forcing you into rigid software boxes.
Which explains the focus on different input methods too, right? Voice, text, visual,
Yeah,
those neuroadaptive interfaces again.
exactly. Making it accessible regardless of how you prefer to interact.
One source talks about the back-end architecture being orchestrated by a kind of central nervous system.
Yeah, a multi-agent framework coordinating all the different AIs, managing the data, handling the user experience.
All sitting on top of that robust security layer.
Right. And they mention real-time analytics and continuous feedback loops to keep the user engaged and the platform responsive.
So how does this actually work? Is there an example?
Yeah, the Squad Compass source gives a pretty good one. Imagine you have a complex idea like designing a 3D dashboard that needs to adapt to your specific way of working.
Okay. Sounds complicated.
It is. So
Yeah.
you describe this vision to the platform. It then uses these specialized AI agents, maybe mentioning specific coders like Olympic Coder or Quinn 2.5 Coder.
Known for certain skills.
Yeah, known for efficiency or particular coding abilities. And these agents don't just, spit out a block of code.
No.
According to the source, the platform breaks down your task, generates the code needed, optimizes it.
Optimizing it. How?
For performance, presumably. And it even automatically checks for things like accessibility and security issues. It's designed to automate the really complex technical stuff.
The heavy lifting.
Exactly. That source also mentions some of the tech making it possible, like agentic AI orchestration using frameworks like LangChain and the OpenAI Agents SDK to manage the workflow between these AIs.
Okay, getting technical now.
A little, yeah. An always-on Qwen 3 chatbot is mentioned as a kind of guide, providing help along the way.
And what if something goes wrong or you just want to understand why the AI did something?
Good point. They mention observability tools like Langsmith, so you can actually look into the AI's process. Seeing the why can be super valuable.
Definitely. For learning and trust.
Plus, things like vector database caching using Pinecone, Qdrant for speed, which is crucial if you want real-time interaction.
Makes sense.
But, and this is important, the sources emphasize a crucial human-in-the-loop element. Despite all the automation and AI help.
You're still in charge.
Exactly. You, the user, remain firmly in control. It's collaboration, not replacement.
And it's built to play nice with others. Integrations.
Yeah. Connects with major services. AWS Bedrock, Anthropic Claude, Google Speech APIs are mentioned, enabling users to push boundaries, maybe with multimodal creative experiences.
Okay, so stepping back from the nuts and bolts for a second. What does this all add up to?
Well, both sources, even with the different names, Orchestratex, AEM, Squad Compass, they really land on the same why.
Which is?
This isn't just about giving you new tools. It's fundamentally about empowering creators not just to use the digital world, but to actively shape it.
Giving you the means to build your own frameworks, realize your own complex visions.
Exactly. That
Yeah.
seems to be the core motivation.
Okay, so wrapping this up then, the core message we're getting from these sources is, well, pretty potent. This platform is presented as way more than just software.
Right. It's framed as a launch pad for creators, learners, innovators.
A movement, they keep saying, aimed at genuinely empowering users to shape the digital world, build the future they imagine.
And if this has got you curious, one source gives a clear call to action. Visit squad-compass.com to find out more. Maybe join this movement they're talking about.
The big idea running through all the material is really empowering, isn't it? that with this kind of collaborative tech working with you, the only real limit is your own vision, your imagination.
Which leads to a pretty interesting question to leave you mulling over, I think.
Go on.
If AI is really moving beyond being just a static tool that you command, if it's evolving into a dynamic collaborator, a partner that actively adapts to your unique way of thinking and learning and creating,
Yeah.
what previously unimaginable creative frontiers, or professional ones even, suddenly become accessible for you to explore? What could you build if the technology was truly working with your imagination, adapting to your flow?
Hmm. That's definitely something to think about. What becomes possible then?